afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Redgate CoClub. So this is the 6th lesson in our beginner's course, Coding Through Scratch. My name is Chris, and this is Maya. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to lead the session today to take you through our new project today. And we also have some help from Molly, who's online as well. Hello, Molly.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
We're good. We're excited.
Yeah.
Got a new project to do. It's a game, so it's going to be good. So Molly is going to help you out. If you've got some questions during our time together today, then you can use the chat facility on the Zoom call that you're using and ask Molly some questions. She can answer them yourselves, and she can also let me know if we need to answer a question for a lot of you, or slow down or quicken up and that kind of stuff. So do type into chat if you've got any questions. And Mara and I are gonna crack on. So as I said, this is the 6th lesson in a beginner's course. Hopefully you've been with us through the other 5. Sometimes it's been me and Maya, sometimes it might have been Ali and Doug, it might have been Dave and his daughter. We've had a whole bunch of us sort of leading these sessions, so I hope you've enjoyed those. If you haven't been along before, I just need to remind you that actually all this stuff is brought to us thanks to an organisation called CoClub. They're a really brilliant organisation that helps people learn coding. You can find more about them at CoClub.org, some local clubs maybe, and also all the things that we're doing together, all of that content, all of those courses and those great ideas come from this organisation. So have a look at CoClub.org. To find out more about what to do with Scratch and other coding stuff. And as I said, we've also done a number of these lessons, and you can go and find those on our Redgate YouTube channel. So if you Google for Redgate Kids Coding Club on YouTube, you'll find a whole list of beginners courses, so the other 5 lessons in this course, and also intermediate, which is Scratch again, and then advanced, which is coding in something called Python, which is pretty cool, but it's beyond me. So have a look at those. I'm assuming today, as we go through the lesson together, that you folks have been to most of those lessons, so you know kind of thing we're talking about. So you're familiar with Scratch. You can add costumes, you can create sprites, you can set your background, you've heard of loops, you've done if statements, that kind of stuff. If you haven't done that, we'll try and lead you through this lesson, no worries. But some of it you might have heard of before, and these videos are really going to help you out. So have a look at those to sort of catch up in the week. So today's project is called Balloons, and there's a balloon. So Balloons is a game, and we love a game. So we're going to be creating some balloons. We're going to be floating them around the screen, and then you're going to be popping them with your mouse and getting a top score. Pop, pop, pop. We're not going to pop that one because I'm scared of loud noises. Thank you very much. Balloon optional. So yes, we're going to be making that now. We're going to start again. So I've shared on my screen. Hopefully you can see. That's quite noisy. You're going to need Scratch open. Hopefully you've used that before. There's the link there on the screen. I think Molly could pop the link onto the channel if you haven't got it, but open Scratch in a browser. And then what we're going to be going through is this picture on the right, which is the balloons tutorial, which you can find on the Raspberry Pi website. So if you go, if you Google for CoClub balloons, you'll find the guidance there. And we'll also put the link into the channel. Bang it over there. Yay.
Bang.
Balloons are noisy. So get those things open, and I will see you in Scratch in a minute. Okay, let's
Not sure if you're aware you're still muted.
I was not aware I was still muted. You should have heard what I was saying, guys. It was the best bit of introduction I've done for a long time, but never mind. So let's go back to that. Hopefully you can all see Scratch now. So as I said, I'm going to be aiming for a medium speed. So we'll go through this tutorial on balloons together. It might be a bit quick for some of you. Do let Molly know if that's happening, but the tutorial will help you out here. The tutorial takes it through stage by stage, so you can look at that as well. And obviously the video will go up on the weekend and you can catch it that way. But hopefully you can all see Scratch now. We're sharing Scratch and we're going to start this project. First thing we need to do is get rid of the sprite that we have in our default project. We know how to do that, don't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to get rid of Scratch.
We
press the delete. We know how to do this. Click. And now what I'd like all you coders at home to do, and we're going to do it here, but we won't tell you how to do it because you know, is I want you to add a balloon sprite, one balloon sprite, which you can find in the normal way. What am I doing it? And then I want you to set a background, and this is going to be the background for your game. Now, you can be whatever you want. I think the tutorial, it's a wall with a pavement in front of it, but you might want something more interesting than that. So choose a background and add one balloon sprite, and I'll talk to you again in about 1 minute. Let me just mute everyone.
Oh.
Muted again, Chris.
Yeah, I was talking to myself that time. How can you know? I was actually just like talking to myself. But hopefully you've all got there. You've added a background and you've added a balloon. We've gone for a castle background.
Yeah, it's a castle party.
It's a castle party. Okay. And I hope you've all got a theme tune for your backdrop as well. And if you haven't, make one. So let's see. We're going to animate these balloons. These balloons are going to move around. So I needed to add some code. So what the code's going to do, it's when we click the green flag, we're going to move the balloon to the middle of the screen. And then we're going to make it move around one step forever until it bounces off the edge of the screen. I'm going to show you that code. Now, if we're doing something forever, what kind of thing do we need? Remember?
Forever loop.
A forever loop. We need a forever loop, and we need the green flag event. So let's go together into events. And there's that, when the green flag is clicked.
Oh, when the green flag is clicked.
We're going to sing every single thing. Oh, it might be a long lesson, guys. Okay. We're going to go to the middle of the screen. Now, if you remember from previous lessons, the middle of the screen is 0, 0, somewhat confusingly. We can talk about that another time, coordinate systems if you'd like, but just take my word for it. You need to go to 0, 0. We need to point the balloon in direction. So the direction is the balloon is going to glide across the screen. And one of the things we need to do is to point it at an angle so it goes diagonally. Just take my word for it. It'll be clear later on. So we've got this piece of code here in the motion blocks called point in direction. We're going to add that to our Lego code blocks. And I'd like that to be set to 45. That's going to go diagonally across the screen when it moves. And then we need that loop. What did you call it? A
forever loop.
I forgot you were going to sing that, weren't you? There's going to be a lot of singing. There's going to be a lot of singing today. And we're going to, in that forever loop, you're going to say, forever we want your sprite to do this action. So, stop now. How can I mute you? Mute. Oh, cool. I want it to move across the screen, and I'm going to use the move motion block in there. I'm going to just move one step so that it moves nice and slowly across the screen. And then there's a special piece of code that we used before together, which is if the sprite hits the edge of the screen, it's going to bounce the other way. So let's add if on edge bounce. So should we click the green flag to see what happens? Do you want to click the green flag? So let's just test that code and see what happens to our balloon. There it goes. It is moving across the screen, and when it hits the edge, it bounces.
Can you do it a bit faster?
We can do it a bit faster later. There you go. So there's one strange thing happening. I'm going to tell you to do that first, and then I'm going to let you guys catch up. So this is bouncing in a really weird way. Like balloons don't bounce like that, where they go upside down. Let's see. That's a really strange balloon. So there's a little trick we can do to stop it doing that, to make it stay upright like a balloon would. If we go into the direction controlling your sprites, in the bottom right corner of your screen there, you've got you've got a direction field. If you click on it, you get this other control over the top. We're not going to fiddle with that, don't confuse people yet. And there's this little icon here that says do not rotate. It's grayed out. You click that, and now it will just stay upright as it moves around. I didn't know that existed before 2 days ago, so that's new to me. So if you click that, then as it moves around, it will bounce like a balloon would. But I'm going to stop now. We're going to leave you for 2 minutes. I'm going to leave the code up, and I'll leave that little icon up there as well, so you remember where that is. And then we'll come back and we'll see where we are. So we're going to mute ourselves, and we'll let you folks catch up. Okay, we're muted now.
Yeah.
There's lots of very okay. So I think we've got the last few people catching up now. Do you got any jokes, balloon jokes? You love a balloon joke, right?
Yeah.
Go on, what we got balloon jokes while people finish up?
Why did the balloon burst?
I don't know. Why did the balloon burst?
Because he saw a lollipop.
Hey, a lollipop.
I
Good
like
work.
eating lollipops.
Yeah, I like lollipops too. Okay. So hopefully you've all got that balloon going across the screen. As I said, if it looks a bit weird when it's bouncing, you probably want to go into direction and click that little icon there to stop it, to keep it upright. Yep. So we're going to introduce some randomness. When we played a game before, if any of you did the ghost game with us, it was too easy until we introduced something to make it a bit more variable where the balloon goes. Do you remember what that was called, what we did? What did we use to change the place every time the balloon, or the ghost in that case, was created? Do you remember what that was? We used a
random position.
We put a random position in, didn't we? We used the random number stuff in Scratch to put the balloon, in that case the ghost, into a random position. So that's what we're going to do this time. So if you go into the green blocks, the operators, we can see that there is this pick random block here. You see that? Now what this will do, as I said before, is every time this piece of code runs, it will pick you a number at random between those two numbers in there. So it will just choose one, and the next time you use the code, it will choose a different one, and then a different one, and a different one. And it's really good for a game because it means that we don't know where the balloon's going to appear. So it gets it a bit harder. So what we're going to do is we're going to update these pick randoms. We're going to drop one in there in the 0, which is again a position on our background, and we're going to say between minus 150 and 150, and then we're going to use another one of those pick randoms. Oh, we can't see that. Let me see if I can move that. There you go. Minus 150 to 150. Now those numbers, we're using those. I explained that before in the lesson that I did around this, but it's around the coordinate system. It's not that important, take my word for it. You just need those numbers. But basically that covers the whole of your background. In the bottom corner, it's minus 150. And in the top corner, it's 150. But so by choosing those numbers, it means that the balloon can appear anywhere on our background. Don't worry too much about that. I can explain that later if people want to find out about coordinate systems. But right now, those numbers will help us have the balloon pop up in a random position. So if I press the green flag, it's there, and it's there, and it's there, and it's there, and it's there. Every time I click it, the balloon's somewhere else,
See when it bounces.
which is pretty cool. So that's the thing I'd like you to do on your own, finish that up, but I just add one more step, and the people that do that very fast can add this as well. So what we can do is we can also change the color of the balloon. So when it appears, it might be a different color as well. So make the color random. And we do that by using something that we called a color effect. Let me show you what that is. So if we go into looks, and down the bottom of the soundtrack, I'm going to a little soundtrack here. You can see this piece of code, the purple one here, change color bar effect by 25. And we can use this to change the color as well. So I'm going to pop that in just before our forever loop. So before the balloon starts to move using that forever loop, I'm going to change it to a random color. So I'm going to say change the color of our sprite by, well, 25 would mean it'd be the same color every time. So I'm going to use random again. I'm going to go into the operators. I'm going to choose pick random. And I'm going to give it a range and say pick a number between this number and that. So pick a number between 0 actually for its colors and 200. You can play around with that if you want, but that works pretty well for me. So now we've made the position the balloon appears in random, and we've also made the color random.
Why is it not changing color?
Well, because I've not pressed green. Good question. So now I'm going to press the green flag. Now it's purple. Green flag. It's purple again. Now it's red. Now it's green, yellow. Now it's blue. So every time we create a balloon, it's going to look a bit different. It's going to be in a slightly different place. So I'm going to be quiet. Maya's going to play around, and we'll catch up again in 2 minutes to see how people are doing. Okay? Let me mute you so we don't make so much noise at people. Right, coders, I hope you're getting on okay with that. I've introduced a little bit more randomness in my code, so I don't know whether you just noticed that, but I have changed the line of code that says point in direction. I've added another random in here. So if you're already caught up, then you could add that as well. And what that does is that when the balloon moves, the angle it moves across the screen is random. So sometimes it goes that way, sometimes it's steep, angle, sometimes it's like there. And so again, it's making it seem just a little bit different every time you play which way the blues go. So again, I'll let you put that random number in and I'll pause and wait for you guys to catch up.
Pause.
Pause. Okay, so I hope everyone's doing okay and you've got your random balloon floating around your screen. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to write some code so that when we can pop the balloon. That's the game. So we're going to pop the balloon to score points. And what's the noise? Oh, where's the balloon gone? We're going to pop the balloon. You look very small on that screen. That's better. That's better. That's normal size, Maya. So we're going to pop the balloon. So what we need to create is a new costume for our sprite. I'm so pleased I mentioned that. And I think you've done that many times before, and this can be a bit tricky. So we're going
This
to.
is red, just like the balloon on the screen.
Oh, it is, yeah. Right, hold that for a sec. So we're going to change the costume. I'm going to let Maya draw this in a minute. So if you select your balloon sprite, and you can see on the left hand side you've got all the different costumes that the balloon can wear. We don't need 2 and 3, so you can delete those. So they've gone. You just need the one for the blue. We're changing the color through code, remember. We're not using the different costumes for color. We're going to create a new costume for when the balloon pops. So when it pops, it looks different. So we're going to go to the choose a costume button in the bottom left corner of your screen, and that's going to pop up all these things. And in there, there's a little paintbrush, and we're going to click that. And it's going to create a blank costume that we can fill in with whatever we like. So you guys are going to go mad. Let's do that for a second. You're going to draw for me. And we're going to draw up something that represents a popped balloon. So I'll have a go here, and then we'll let you have a chance. Right, okay, so let me set that. You're going to choose, what do you want to choose color-wise? It's a pop balloon. Okay, red. Fine. That's cool. Click, and then, yeah, so pop like a pop splash. Pop.
Oh, that's not right.
Okay. Okay, this bit, ignore that bit. Just start again. Right, so the balloon, we need to pop from there. So pop. It's going to go pop. Okay. So here. Pop. And there. Pop. And there. Pop. And there. And then on at the top. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Cool. So, one last one. So I'm going to pause so you can do this because this is a bit tricky. Stop now. Oh, dude, that was one too many. I did. So we've got 2 costumes now. Let's just review. We've got the balloon, and then when we pop it, it's going to do that. Pop. In fact, you can see that on the screen on the right.
And it actually changes colour.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, can I just
for a second? I'm going to yeah. So again, create a blank costume, and then do something that represents a pop balloon. And then we're going to use that in a minute. I'm going to let you draw that, so let yourselves go mad, so that you can draw yourself a costume for a pop balloon. And then we'll use that in a second. And we will be quiet. Okay, hopefully you've drawn some amazing popped costumes for us to use now. So we're going to add some more code. First thing we're going to do, so we don't forget later, is going to make sure that when we start the game, the balloon looks in the right costume. So we're going to go to looks. Remember, you control your costumes. You control your costumes from the looks sets of code, and in there there's switch costume too. And we're going to start the game with using the first balloon costume. So when we click green, it's always going to be the balloon. So that's the first bit of code. But the really exciting piece, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit here so that I can add it on. You can see it. Is when we click on the balloon, we want it to change that costume to show that it's been popped. So that's in controls. Remember that? And where? No, it's not. It's in events. Do you remember where this is? Where Sprite clicked? Sprite clicked. That one?
Yeah.
Sprite clicked. It's the third one down. When this sprite is clicked, when the balloon is clicked, we want to change the way it looks. So we switch the costume to. Now we called it costume 1, which was silly of us. We could have renamed it. I'm just going to flick in here and say that's first. You don't have to do this. It just would have been good for me to explain that earlier. If you change the name of the costume, it's more obvious when you select it what it means. But in here, we switch costume to burst when it's clicked. So let's try that. Can you click that balloon? See if the code works. Oh. Okay. I'll tell you what, you're making sound effects. Why don't we add sound effects too? So the first thing we're going to do is, the next thing we're going to do is sound effects. Remember where we get the sound effects from? Which lot of coders? Where did we find that? Sound. And we're going to start the sound pop. I like this sound better. So let's see what happens. I don't know if you can hear this. You might be able to hear that. Let me see. Let me see if we can hear it. Oh, whether you can hear that or not, but take my word for it. When I click it, I can hear a pop. But then you've got like a pop thing floating around, which is a little bit strange. So we're going to add a little bit more code before I let you run after us. We're going to hide. We're going to hide that after a little while. So we wait a little bit of time. Going to wait.
1 second.
One's quite a long time, so we'll do 1.3. So we'll wait for a little bit just to show that pop costume, and then we'll hide it, as if a balloon would really pop and then disappear. So we need to make it disappear. We make it disappear on the looks set of code, and there's a hide block here. We're going to pop that at the end. So just to run through this, when the sprite is clicked, we're going to change the costume to the burst picture.
Hi.
We're going to play a sound pop.
Hello.
We're going to wait for a little while, and then we're going to hide. So that's the code. Last thing we're going to do is to make sure we can see. Say what some people are. To make sure we can see the balloon. The next time it starts, we're going to add show to the top of this one. So when I click the green, I can see the balloon. I click on it, it pops, then it goes. And then I click again, I can see the balloon again, pop, and it goes. Mine's going to play with that a lot. I'm going to let you catch up and leave the code up. I think that somebody had already thought of adding a pop noise. Fair play. You were ahead of the game, so add that pop noise. Hopefully you're catching up. I think we got another joke. Maya, you got another joke for us?
Yeah.
Joke?
Why can't you give Elsa and Frozen a balloon?
Why can't you give Elsa from Frozen a balloon? What could that be? I don't know.
So let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
I'm not going to sing that song. I'm going to be humming that song the rest of the day now, the same as the rest of you. Let it go. Okay. So hopefully you're enjoying that. This is a game. So, okay. Mute the song singing. This is a game. So we need to keep score. We've done this before if you did the ghost game with us before. So if I'm going to remember something, remember a number, remember a score, what kind of thing in Scratch do I need? Who remembers?
Variables.
So again?
Variables.
A variable. We love variables. So you need to add a variable.
Variable.
We do that in a special area of Scratch called variables. And we go to the orange tab and there is make a variable button.
No, it's make.
You can see everything on this thing. Please don't. For everybody involved, please don't. What variable should we call this? We're keeping the score. So
New score.
Okay, I'll call it new score. I like your thinking. New score.
Okay.
Click OK. And
New score
now
0.
we've got new score or score if you want to call it score.
I just got 0.
It's all right, dude. We're going to play in a minute. We're going to play in a minute. So we've added new score. As you remember, if you check this little box, you get the score on the screen, and we want to see what score it is in our game. So we're going to click that flag. We want to change the score depending on whether we've clicked, and we want to set it to 0 at the beginning. So we're going to set score to 0 at the beginning of every game. And there's a special line of code in there, isn't there?
Yep.
It's this one. So what do we need to change about that?
To 0.
Do you want my variable, or do you want to set? What are we setting to 0?
New score.
Set new score to 0. So at the beginning of every game, new score will now be 0. And not only that, when we pop a balloon, we want to add 1 point, don't we? So what should we use here? We want to add 1 to our score every time we click on a balloon.
I changed my variable by 1.
Change my variable 1. So
change new score 1.
that's right, brilliant. So we change the variable by 1. We drop down that list so it says new score. And let's see, should we test that code? Okay. Just do it once so everyone can see. Green, and then click. Yay, we got a score of 1. Whoa. Just a score of 1 is the only score we can get. That doesn't seem enough. Let's fix that in a minute. So I'll let you guys add that score. You want to score more than 1. So we'll fix that in a minute, but I'll leave you to add that variable and to reset the score at the beginning of every game and to add 1 to the score when the balloon is popped. So we'll leave that open for you and we'll be quiet again so you can catch up. Hopefully you guys are getting on okay with that. I just wanted to share that you're all coding together from all over the country, the United Kingdom, but also all over the world. So we got people coding before in previous lessons from the United States of America. I also last time got a message from somebody coding with us in Buenos Aires. So if you are all the way over in Argentina, hola! It's great to have so many of you together, coding, learning this, having fun, creating games, using Scratch. So really excited to have you all here with us. And I hope you're enjoying this lesson. Hello. Okay. So hopefully you've got your score, but it's too easy, this game. And you can only get a high score of 1. That's not enough. We need more balloons. How many balloons do we need?
I'm going to say 1,000.
1,000 balloons.
1,010 balloons.
That's a lot of balloons. So we need more balloons to click.
10,000 and 10,010 balloons.
10,010 balloons might be slightly too many balloons, but
Okay, let's just go with 110.
okay. We need more balloons, basically. What we could do is we could duplicate our sprite and add sprites and sprites and sprites. But that's, we could right click on our sprite and click duplicate, and that will create a copy of everything. But there's an easy way to do that, and we don't, it's going to be fiddly to do that. If you want 20 or 50 or 100 balloons, doing that is going to be annoying. So Scratch helps us out here.
Can we do 1,010?
You know what? You probably can't cope with that, but we can do something else. Let me show you.
100.
Let me show you. So we can use something called a clone in Scratch.
What's a clone?
That's a great question. That wasn't even staged. A clone is a copy. A clone is a copy of the sprite.
What's a copy? Well, I don't know what's a copy, but what's a clone?
A clone is a copy.
No.
The clone is a copy. And you can create lots of clones in the code. So you don't need to duplicate and add lots of different sprites to your panel there. You can create a clone. Let me show you how to do it. So there's a special thing that I don't think we've used in these lessons before. If you go into control, no, not control.
Event.
I think it is control. Yeah, it is. Sorry.
It's control.
Bottom. Controls. There's create clone. When I start a clone, I had to create clone later, I think. That's probably the wrong way to do it. So let me explain it this way. So I'm going to move all this code somewhere else. So I'll let you catch it in a minute. So this bit, I'm going to move somewhere else.
Someone please turn me off.
So I'm going to create a clone this way. So I'm going to create 20 clones, 20 copies of the balloon to go around on my screen. Not 110 yet. I don't think it will cope, but we'll try it. So I'm going to use a loop, repeat, and I'm going to create 20 to start with. We'll try 110 later, but I think it will explode. And then there's a bit of code down here, which is create clone of myself. That's what I wanted to show you. So I've changed this green arrow, the green flag code, to say create 20 clones of myself. And every time that clone is created, I need to do the same work I did before to set the balloon up in the right shape and the right color and the right position. So I've moved all that code, and I'm going to put it under this event, which I found here, under controls. When I start as a clone, I'm going to move all that code that I had before there. So I'm going to show myself, I'm going to switch to the right costume, I'm going to go to a random position, I'm going to point in a random direction, I'm going to change my color, and then I'm going to move. And every time I create a clone, each little clone is going to do that. There's one thing I haven't done here. Let me try this last bit and then I'll tell you later. I'll let you catch up. So instead of hide, that's not going to work. Now we've got clones, but we have got delete this clone. So when the sprite is clicked, now we need to delete this clone instead of hide. I'm going to pause for a long time so you can catch up on this, so don't worry. But let's see if this works. Calm down. Whoa! And now click. That's a bit better, isn't it? Now we're talking. Okay. There was 20 because it's got 20. We popped them. So
That's so on there.
I don't know why I did that. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay, so just to review what we've done there, and this is what I'm going to ask you to go away and do. Just give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec, give me a sec. Maya, I've got to show you what to do. My dude.
Look, it's still popped.
We're going to create a clone. We're going to create 20 clones in this green flag by putting this in here. Those clones, when they start, are going to do the same setup code we had before, which we've moved across from the green flag. And then when the sprite is clicked, we're going to delete this clone. So I'm going to leave that up. The clone code is all in the controls. If you get lost, then use the chat window and let us know, and we'll give you a few minutes to catch up.
All of it.
So if some of you are finished, we're going to add a timer to the game and give ourselves 10 seconds. So if you're finished already, you guys can go off and try and create a timer for your game that counts down from 10. If you're not finished, keep going. I will wait, and then we'll do that step together. So create a timer if you're already finished. We've done that before. We did it on the Ghostbusters game, so I reckon you can do it. But we'll take you all through it in a minute or two. Okay, I hope you're getting okay with that, with your cloning and your scores. I've left my code up so you can copy that. Got any more jokes? Last joke? Any joke before?
What kind of music do balloons hate?
What kind of music do balloons hate? I think I can guess, but what is it?
Pop music.
Pop music. I probably agree with that.
But I love pop music.
Yeah, you do.
Pop, 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 pop.
It's exactly like that.
Pop.
It's my fault. We had a joke about pop
Pop, pop,
music. Right, okay, so adding a timer.
pop, 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 pop.
Do you remember how we had a timer? So hopefully some of you have already done this, so let's see if we can catch up with you. So do you remember how to add in a timer? So we're actually going to add the code because I've filled this up. I'm going to add it to the backdrop, which I'm not sure whether we've done before. Let's see back. So I'm going to click on the backdrop, and that's going to refresh the screen. So now you can see all the code that belongs to the backdrop. The timer is going to belong to the backdrop. Don't worry too much you've added it on the sprite, but at least we've got a clean screen. So I've clicked on the backdrop and the code has gone away. If you want your old code back, you just click on the balloon icon and you can see your old code. But it's not gone, it's just hidden. So we click on the backdrop and we're going to say that when the flag is clicked, we want to start a timer. Now, what do we need? What do we need to remember? What do we need to remember our time? We're going to remember a thing, and we're going to change the value. It's a variable.
A variable.
A variable. We love variables.
Well, I was just looking on here because.
I reminded you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Don't let them know there's tricks of the game. We're gonna we created a. Sorry, I did that very fast. I clicked on here, new variable. I typed in time and I clicked OK, and then I got my new variable here, time. And it's appeared on the backdrop. I'm going to move that over. You can drag that. You can put that whatever you like. I'm going to put my time over on the right-hand side. No?
Can you put it on top of the new score?
That's very simple. I'm going to put it in the top right corner, and we're going to reset the time at the beginning. So setting. What do we need to select in here? Set time to 0. So we set time to 10. Sorry, we're saying you got 10 seconds on this game. You can play with that later. And then we're going to take 1 off that every second until we get down to 0. So what kind of thing? If you want to do something like this, what do we want to use? We can do that later. But we want to show a short game so we can see what we're doing. So if we're going around something like this to take numbers off, what would we use?
A loop.
A loop. So we've got a loop. Repeat. That's it. Repeat until.
Do you want to be That's how to unmute me.
We're going to loop until. So we're going to, every time it loops around, we're going to wait 1 second, and then we're going to use our variable code to change the variable by -1. So it's -1, we're going to take 1 away from our time. And we're going to do that until time is 0. So we're going to use an operator. We're going to use an operator. Where is it? There's equals there. This one here. Something equals something 10, 15. We're going to change that. So when time, we're going to go into variables and we're going to drag time across. When time equals 0. Sorry, I'm just on the wrong place. It should be there. Repeat until time equals 0.
When time equals minus 100.
That would cheat. So let me refresh this for you. You're gonna just give a second so I can explain it to everyone. So when you click the green flag, we're going to set time to 10. Then we're going to loop round until time is 0, taking 1 off time. Oh yeah, you spot that? Taking 1 off time every second, and then it'll go to 0. When it goes to 0, we're going to use a last bit of code, which is I'm going to stop everything. Stop all. That will mean the game ends. So let's just see what happens. I'll test it and then I'll let you add that code. So I'm going to click green. I get to pop. I get to pop, 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 pop. You can see the time in the top right corner is going down. Boom, and I've just done it in time. Time has run out. And then we stopped. So that's your time code. If you want to, you can right click on that and change it to a big time in the corner. So it's just right click, change to large readout, or you can have a normal readout. And that is your timer. So again, click on the backdrop, add the code to the backdrop. That's what it looks like. And at the end of that, you're going to have a game where you'll have 10 seconds to click as many balloons as you want.
We said a game. Yay!
I will be quiet. We will be quiet so you can catch up. Right then, I hope everyone's got their timer and everyone's tested it out. You want to test out the game again, Maya? So we've changed it, just so you know, we've gone into balloon and we've changed it so we get 30 balloons. 20 balloons wasn't enough. So we've changed this repeat code so we get 30 balloons. I'm thinking if you do much over 100, the game might slow down a bit too much. But you can test it, why not? But we're going to try it with 30.
Yeah,
and
Daddy,
let's
do
see how
it
you go.
so you will lose.
Well, I probably will lose. So I'm going to make it bigger so we can play. And green flag, you ready?
No, you do it. Because
I'll do the green flag.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can get. Go, go.
No, you go.
Oh, okay, guys.
Yeah.
1, 2, 7. Hopefully you're all playing a game. Oh, missed. Okay, 16. Right, do you want to go?
Okay.
Ready?
No, I.
Okay. Green flag. Go. Ah. You beat me.
Yes, 23.
Maya wins. Maya wins. So all you folks can play around with that game. So we're gonna draw the lesson to a close now. I hope you've enjoyed that. So you've got lots more you can do this. Play around with that game. Just give me a second. Play around with that game. Add some different sprites on if you want. Change the number of balloons. Change the speed of balloons. See if you can remember how to change the speed. If you did the paint game last time, maybe you could change the mouse pointer so that it's a pin or something that could pop the balloon. You can do whatever you want to this game now. It's yours to play around with and edit it. It's yours to play around with and edit it. So you can make it fun and you make it your own. So thank you very much, coders. I think you've done an amazing job with that. That's a really good, fun game for you to create, and maybe you'll go and play a completely different, make a completely different game over the weekend. So just want to thank Molly for helping us out with all the questions. Thank you, Molly. I want to thank
Me.
who else should I thank? I can't think of anyone
Me.
else. Oh yeah, let's thank Maya for helping us out with the jokes and for making a general nuisance of herself. And the CoClub for providing all that.
Daddy.
Thanks. CoClub for providing all that content for us to use. Now, we're not here next week in the UK. It's half term for us, so we're not home learning, and we're not, and some of us are taking some time off work as well. So we won't see it.
Schooling.
We're not schooling, so we won't see you next week, but we will be here the week after, so in 2 weeks' time. So keep an eye out for the next lesson if you'd like to do that, and look at the YouTube channel for the beginners, and you might be ready for the intermediate courses now as well. So we will see you in a few weeks. So take care.
And it's nearly my birthday.
It's nearly Maya's birthday, by the way. We will see you in a few weeks. Take care and have fun coding. Thank you, everybody.
What?
See you next time.
One more week, then it's